All right, folks, how you doing? RussellTrueResults303.com. Check out the website, link in the description box. Subscribe, share, like these videos. Let people know this channel's out there. Coming at you today with a video on Christianity, Catholicism, the Bible. I made the video on who should read the Bible, who should study the Bible, or other religions. When I did that, an atheist tweeted me back. We kind of got into I would say kind of an argument, but it wasn't, just because I tried to kill him with kindness. He would just kind of say something rude. I'd say something kind. He'd say something rude. I'd say something kind. Finally, I think I kind of got him in a little bit of a pickle. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe after he sees this, he will tweet me some more obscene tweets. But so one of the things though that he threw at me was, oh, you're a Christian. You just believe in slavery and owning slaves and this and that. First of all, owning slaves is a horrible thing. It's still here, is on this earth. Slavery still exists. That's a horrible thing. So if you look at me, I'll, a little bit about myself. You think I'm, just a white guy, whatever. My father's side, yes, German, Russian, whatever. My mother's side, Hispanic. So I am a mutt, just like anyone else in the United States, a majority of people. So it's kind of like French, or it's Russian, German, French, Spanish, Indian, Mexican, something else in there. So I'm a little bit of everything, right? So I was doing some Bible reading on some other stuff, came about some other verses about slavery, so I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to go with this topic, even though a lot of people told me don't do it. It's a touchy subject, whatever. But I figured since I got those verses popped in while I was reading and doing my other research for other stuff, I figured maybe it's God's way of telling me to do it, so I'm just going to do it whether we like it or not. Sorry, I think the camera's crooked. It's kind of bothering me. All right. So, first of all, I just want to say, if even we here in the United States, if we think that we are not slaves of some form, even though this is a free country, we are wrong, in my opinion. We are all, we are all slaves to something. They give us this false sense of choice when it's really Coke or Pepsi, right? Comcast or DirecTV. They give you 2 to 3 choices to make you feel like you have freedom, when in reality we don't have any freedom, or not much more freedom than anyone else on this earth. They've enslaved us in a different way. So I wanted to get that out. First of all, if we think we are free, I think it's a lie in general. But I'm a big conspiracy guy anyway, so I watch a lot of crazy conspiracy videos, I won't lie. But anyway, so now I just want to relate it to things going on in today's world here in the United States, here in Colorado. Here in Colorado, marijuana is now legal, but it first started with trying to make it medicinal, right? It failed, then it passed. After it passed, the next time we went for full legalization. Now we got legalization. Baby steps, right? That's what it's about. Baby steps, baby steps. Next, we would go with gay marriage, right? So first it was, let's make it civil unions. Failed. Let's make it civil unions. Passed. Now they're trying to just make, let the gay and lesbian community be able to get married. Baby steps, right? That's what we're working on. Baby steps. Next, it was abortion here in Colorado. They tried to come up with, you can't do it after a certain amount of weeks or something like that. If you killed a fetus or a pregnant lady's baby, that would be considered murder. You could be charged for murder. That failed. Who knows what's going to come about it in the next, the next elections? I'm sure it'll come up. But story to relate to that, here in Longmont, a lady was on Craigslist looking for baby clothes or something like that. So she went to a house to purchase some of these things, or at least look at them. And the husband and wife, or the boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever was at that house, kidnapped her, cut her stomach open, took the baby. The baby died. They went to the hospital and tried to say they had a miscarriage. So the baby's dead. They did these things, but since that law just didn't pass, the abortion law, they can't charge that couple with murder, but there's like 8, 9, 10 other charges. So it's pretty safe bet that they will be going to jail. We'll be hearing more on it. I haven't heard much about it lately. But once again, it's baby steps. Now that this has happened, who knows? Next time that law could get passed. And once again, it's baby steps, right? So I believe that to be the same with the Bible. There's always baby steps, right? Same thing when God was talking with Moses and Abraham. There was in the Old Testament, there really wasn't much about heaven. There was no life after death. It was just, we will give you descendants as much as the stars, because that's how you live on, keep your name going, right? If I don't have a child, it's almost certain, not certain, but it's very close that the Werner name will not live on, because if I don't have a child, my other cousins aren't in relationships either. So it's getting close that the Werner name might die because we're not having children. So that's in the Old Testament. That was kind of how God told them they would have eternal life through having multiple descendants instead of life after death. Then we find out in the New Testament there's life after death. We go to heaven, baby steps in that sense as well. So, sorry, I was looking at it earlier and I lost my page. See if I can find it. So we're going to start with Exodus. The one thing I wanted to say was, we must first realize that God's people were enslaved first, right? The Israelites were enslaved to begin with. The parting of the Red Sea, leaving Egypt, and they were enslaved for, I think it says something like 400 years. This is in the book of Exodus. So the book of Exodus was written in 1250 BC, before Christ. So then it says law concerning slaves. They've already been given the 10 Commandments. They've left. They're setting up their altars, all these things, right? So it says, these are the ordinances that you shall set before them. When you buy a male Hebrew slave, he shall serve 6 years, but in the 7th he shall go out a free person without debt. If he comes in single, he shall go out single. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone. But if the slave declares, I love my master, my wife, my children, I will not go out a free person. Then he's taken to the altar, and he is declaring to God that he will serve his master for the rest of his life. That is going to be Exodus 21, 1 through 6. And then there's other ones I should have looked at a little bit more. Sorry. Right here, when a slave owner strikes a male or female slave with a rod, and the slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if the slave survives a day or two, there's no punishment, for the slave is the owner of the property. So that's unfortunate too, but it's baby steps. That's what I'm talking about. So you will be punished if you beat your slave and your slave dies, right? Let's see. So, that's just a little bit in Exodus. Like I said, we're on baby steps, right? That's the way society nowadays works. That's how God worked with letting them know about life after death. So we went from slaves are permanent to now we're giving them, a 6-year, a 6-year service, and then they can go free. He's kind of starting to put in there, if you kill a slave, you shall be punished. So we're making small steps. We're taking small steps, right? We're making small steps. Next, we're going to go into Sirach. I don't know how they pronounce it, sorry. And for this one, you're going to have to be in a Catholic Bible, all right? This is not in a Protestant Bible or any of those other Bibles. You have to be in a Catholic Bible for this book, if I remember correctly. This book was written in 200 to 175 BC. So this is 1,000 years later. And you can read a little bit more into it, but it's going to be Sirach 33, 25 through 33. 33, 25 through 33. Let's see. So it says, fodder and stick and burden from a donkey, bread and discipline and work for a slave. Set your slave to work, and you will find rest. Leave him idle hands, and he will seek liberty. Yoke and thong will bow the neck, and for the wicked slave there are racks of torture. Put him to work in order that he may not be idle, for idleness teaches much evil. Set him to work as is fitting for him, and if he does not obey, make his fetters heavy. Do not be overbearing toward anyone, and do nothing unjust. If you have but one slave, treat him like yourself, because you have bought him with blood. If you have but one slave, treat him like a brother, for you will need him as you need your life. If you ill-treat him and he leaves you and runs away, which way will you go to seek him? So it's the same thing. Now they're trying to get to more of a, it's kind of like your employee. We're slowly making it. Like I said, we're slowly getting there, right? Small steps. So, it's like treat them like a brother. Treat them like yourself. Things like that. And of course, there's, at the beginning where it says there is torture for them that they don't do their work. It's the same for us at work. If we don't do our job, we get punished, right? We get written up. We get fired. Same thing. So, all right. So next we will be in the New Testament. And this is going to be Ephesians 6:9. I might have to go back one. It says, and masters do the same to them. Okay, we'll just start at the top. Sorry. 6, and then we'll go at 5. So it says, slaves, obey your earthly master with fear and trembling, in singleness of heart, as you obey Christ, not only while being watched and in order to please him, but as slaves of Christ, doing the will of God for the heart. Render service with enthusiasm as to the Lord and not to men or women, knowing that whatever good we do, we will receive the same again from the Lord, whether we are slaves or free. And masters, do the same to them. Stop threatening them, for you know that both of you have the same master in heaven. With them, there is no partiality. So once again, it is baby steps. We are getting there, Like I said, I think that goes with everything in society. There was a lot of evil back then. There's a lot of evil today. Slavery still exists today. And, a lot of people will say, oh, that's a horrible, I'm not defending slavery, but that's a horrible, I guess you could say, defense for the Bible and slavery. But, sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's kind of like the same with, I've heard, I listen to the Christian radio stations. And it's the same thing where he says, even right now, no matter what you ask for, God's not going to give it to you right away, right? He only gives it to you when you're ready. God only gives you what you can handle, whether good or bad, right? So, yes, you want a wife or you want a girlfriend or you want a million, if you want a wife or a girlfriend in that sense, well, if you're not ready for it, what's the point in even getting it? Because you're most likely going to ruin that relationship anyways because you are not ready for it. Or the same thing, like I said, with winning the lottery. There's a lot of these people that win the lottery, and within 5 years, they're still broke. They have no money, right? Or they kill themselves because they had some crazy addiction, and now that they had all this money, they were able to feed that addiction. So the unfortunate thing, they were given something that they weren't ready for. And I think that could be the same thing with the Bible. We just, God just slowly gave it to us. We weren't ready. Things still needed to develop. The plan of God still needed to develop. But once again, like I said, I am not condoning slavery. I'm not sticking up for slavery. I just want to give, my own personal view on this because, like I said, that guy was a little offended. I was kind of offended that he said I was that type of person. That's not what it's about. We're all supposed to love God, love Jesus, and try and follow, God's word. And Jesus is, had nothing, was never preached that. So I just wanted to clear that out. Hopefully, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be gentle in the comments because I know it can be a tough subject, but I just wanted to kind of get that out there and just kind of discuss it. It is a touchy subject, and unfortunately, this is still going on in the world, and we need to ourselves do something to stop this. Everybody wants equal rights. Or at least those similar rights, and everyone has their own opinion on things. So I just hope that you have an open mind, and I hope I didn't offend anybody. But I just wanted to get that out there. So once again, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Share these videos. Let people know that this channel's out there. Subscribe to the channel. Share and like these videos. Help me out.